Morning. Didn't get quite as early start this morning as I have the last few days, but I was up and about, or up, I don't know, or awake, maybe not up and about, if the truth be known, dozing a little bit, enjoying the beauty of the morning. And when I went to find a shirt to wear, it's hot in here. And trying to find a shirt that is a little cooler and more comfortable, I found this shirt I hadn't worn for quite a while. And I don't know if you can see the Tahitian lady, the Hinano beard emblem. Anyway, I feel good because I'm wearing my shirt that I got in Tahiti. And I am an island boy. After all, most of my life has been living on an island, Hawaii, and now Taiwan. And island destinations are amongst my favorites. So islands. Yesterday, we talked about moral compass and where I look for guidance in my personal construction of my moral compass, which has served me well and will continue to serve me well. And I felt that, expressed that we should be an active participant in making a compact, an agreement, rather than accepting something that was simply imposed on us. No matter how well-spirited. I'm not criticizing anything or anyone here. I'm just saying that for me personally, it had to be proactive. I had to be involved in the construction of my moral code. Compact signifies an agreement. And indeed, this development, no matter how you choose to either construct or accept the necessity of this in life, is not only invaluable, but critical to any development that you want to experience as a human being. And religions set up all these codes for us, didn't they? All the religions. And I've studied religion at great depth, fascinated by all religions, fascinated by the beginnings, curious about the endings, because everything has a beginning and everything will have an ending. How do things die? We don't have much choice when being born. Or so it seems to me. I don't remember choosing. Perhaps I did in another realm, but Nevertheless, here I am, I was born. But we do have a choice on the other end of life, and that's dying. So part of my moral code not only embraces life, recognizes the permanence clouded by the mind, gifting us with impermanence, the illusion of impermanence. But die we do. And in my code is dying well. Not only living well, but dying well, dying in peace, dying without fear. Seeing death as nothing more than a transformation. Being excited about where this transformation will lead. The great unknown, isn't it? That's much speculation. And just because I have this acceptance or expectation that I will die well, means that while I'm living, I will live well, and I will not rush the next expression, the next phase of life. Isn't it interesting to see death as a phase, not an ending of the physical body, most likely an ending of the personality of me, of our personalities. Most likely that's put in the recycle bin along with our body. The energies to be reused, reinvested in another expression of life and personality. But religions, the study of world religions, the leaders, the endings, the beginnings, we haven't seen too many religions end as I see them. But nevertheless, many have. And the rest will continue until they don't continue any longer. They've lost their relevance, perhaps. Science has interfered, who knows? But beginnings were able to look at through the lens of history. And it doesn't take long for schisms, divisions within the religion based on jealousy, based on ambition, based on the desire for money. More insidious than the desire for money is the desire for power. So these schisms erupt based on the charisma of the leader, many, many different reasons. But to me it seems that the foundation of a religion is well intended. The schisms, the breakups, the divisions are less than well-intended. They don't reflect what is best about us. Unfortunately. But today we're looking at Buddhism, and briefly at least, because I want to couch this in an understanding this schism. In Buddhism, there's been many schisms. All you have to do is look in Tibetan Buddhism with the 4 existing schools today, even Zen, Rinzai, and Soto. But general Buddhism, Theravada, or Hinayana, pejoratively called the lesser vehicle, and Mahayana, which generally overshadow the early beginnings of the Hinayana and Theravada. So there's no division, there's no separation until something else new comes along. And how it's born, by its leaders, by scholarship, by who knows, but nevertheless, once a schism. And the Mahayanas are the predominant school of Buddhism, with the Theravada just in some places of Thailand where I've spent a lot of time, Sri Lanka, Ceylon, but the rest is Mahayanas. And it seems to me the people from the greater vehicle are the ones that name their predecessors as the lesser vehicle. I can't believe that the early Buddhists would call themselves practitioners of the lesser vehicle. Can you? And what's the separation here? What's this separation based on? And can we see some way to bridge the differences, to bring it back to a state of wholeness? At least in our personal experience, religions such as Christianity, there's so many kinds of Christians and so many arguments about who's a Christian, who's not a Christian, what is a Christian. The Catholic Church, which was the mother of all the churches, the Christian churches, to come from it. One schism started with Martin Luther, Lutheranism, one schism after another schism, to the point today that Christians, now we have charismatic Christians, born-again Christians, in contrast to not born again, but the charismatic, which is dominating a lot of the Christian movement within the modern Christian movement, at least within the United States. I'm not sure about Europe, because Europe has the cathedrals that have the old tradition. But these people will look at Catholics and say, they're not Christians. Catholics, it's a cult because they worship the Pope as a God on earth, instead of respecting him as a representative of God. Much like the controversy for some people surrounds the Dalai Lama. Is he a God? Well, listen to him and he'll tell you absolutely not. He doesn't even claim to be enlightened. In fact, he makes no claims as far Sea. And he's been thrust into the realm of politics by China and their insecurity about their own mandate of rule. So, this division, and I want to talk more about the bridge, but I want to establish what this division was all about. And I went and did my research, and I'd like to read a little bit if you will allow me. Hinayana, in the Sanskrit term, literally meaning inferior vehicle. Now the Hinayana, also known as Theravada, did they name themselves the inferior vehicle? I think not. Tibetan teachers translate it as smaller vehicle, probably meaning that there's less adherence to the old, original, early Buddhism. There's fewer adherents, fewer practitioners, smaller vehicle instead of the pejorative inferior vehicle. The pejorative term appeared around the 1st or 2nd century. Hinayana Theravada is often contrasted with Mahayana, the great vehicle. Within Mahayana Buddhism, the predominant, the form that eclipsed in followers, adherents, practitioners. There are a variety of relations or interpretations as to who or what the term Hinayana refers to. Kalu Rinpoche, Tibetan, stated the lesser or greater vehicle does not refer to economic or social status, but concerns the spiritual capacities of the practitioner. And capacities, propensities. We've talked about this. I've shared my own journey from strict, fundamental, disciplined Raja Yoga, the yoga that's commonly known, most well known in the West. The idea of quieting, aimed at stilling, aimed at silencing the mind so that clarity might blossom for the practitioner. Spiritual capacities of the practitioner. The small vehicle is based on becoming aware of the fact that we experience in samsara is that all we experience in samsara, that all is important, is marked by suffering. Being aware of this engenders the will to rid ourselves of this suffering, to liberate ourselves on an individual level, and to obtain happiness. Sounds pretty good to me. We are moved by our own interest. Renunciation and perseverance allow us to attain our goal. The Chinese monk Yi Jing, who visited India in the 7th century, not only did Bodhidharma leave India to go to China to become the first patriarch, but here's a Chinese monk, Yi Jing, who went the other way. in the 7th century, pretty much later than Damos. He found these two schools existing in India, this schism, this division of something that was intended to be whole. Man-made, as always, as is all division and all separation. Man self-imposed these conditions. He said, this monk said, probably seeking for reconciliation, probably seeking peace, looking for wholeness instead of division and separation. Both adopt one and the same Vinayana. And they have in common the prohibitions of the 5 offenses and also practice of the 4 noble truths. Those who venerate, regard with great respect the Bodhisattvas and read the Mahayana Sutras are called the Mahayanas, while those who do not perform these are called the Hinayanas. Okay. There's that schism. And so it gets down. I read the sutras, you don't read the sutras. And I read the Mahayanas, our sutras. You don't read the sutras, so you must be from the lesser vehicle. You look to yourself. We venerate the Bodhisattvas, the highly evolved spiritual beings on the way to becoming Buddhas. And it's not mentioned that both sides venerate the Buddha, who they saw as their first patriarch. Both sides. No argument, no division, no separation. There comes the Buddha. But Bodhisattva. Why this became a separation, us and them, in Buddhism doesn't reflect the failures of Buddhism or the Buddha. It reflects simply the nature of uninformed, unaware, unawakened people, humanity. Now it seems that within unconditional love, that we should embrace everything and everyone and sing the praises, respect the Bodhisattvas, look at the sutras as simple guidance, remembering the whole time that whether the word is spoken, sung, chanted, it is, after all, just a word. And words is what we have to use as another tool, along with our minds, along with our heart, to use these tools to point the way. But the whole time appreciating that the beauty, the truth of the infinite is how we lead our lives, how we choose to live, our adherence, our adoption, our adherence to our moral code. Watch how a man lives, or a woman, or anyone, a child. Watch watch how they live, to really understand their level of accomplishment, of expressing the infinite. So we need words. We shouldn't argue and become divisive and separate from words. Because of words, based on words. Oh, you say this and I say that, and what do you do? How many Christians live as Christ? How many practitioners of Buddhism, how many Buddhists live as the Buddha did? Because both of these great teachers taught us, pointed the way to become a Christ or to become a Buddha. I've mentioned that jhana yoga, this mind, the one that was to ultimately work for me, is closer, and I mention it here, is closer to the lesser vehicle, smaller vehicle, less adherence. They talk about your responsibility as a self to awaken, to embrace what is, to reject and recognize the ego, the physical world that we call real, to reject that as Maya or illusion. So I used this tool. And as I mentioned before, most scholars who study these matters regard Raja as the most difficult, and being the opposite of bhakti or devotion, seva, selfless service, unconditional love. Why this divide? Because today's talk is called Matters of the Heart. We've talked much about matters of the mind, how the mind mattered to me in my own personal exploration, expansion, acceleration. But this bhakti yoga, for me, bhakti yoga, my heart is opened by music, by sound, by memories, which are a product of remembering. And it's this combination of jhana yoga, from ideas, words to ideas, to knowledge, culminating in wisdom. It is this process of self-examination, self-criticism. Tough. Talk about standing naked in front of the world. This journey will strip away all the falsities that we cling to in our misconception of our identities. And this schism, this separation between the Hinayanas, the Theravadas, and the Mahayanas, based on simply which path you chose. where you put a greater value in your own journey, in your own exploration, should not result in yet another schism. I'm suggesting to you that you operate with the tools that are available. I certainly tried another way for 30 plus long, arduous, empty, for the most part, years of the strict discipline of form, while failing most times to get the vision, to experience the personal experience. I kept waiting for something to happen. When am I going to be like? And again, it was the giving up. And I was forced to give up, mostly, other than seeing the failures of my way. The body, aging process would do this for you, no matter how stubborn your mind is, no matter how strong your will is. Your body your body will ultimately help you to recognize that its usefulness as a vehicle, the only vehicle that you have at this current time, is not allowing you to continue on this rigorous path. And the rewards of letting go, the rewards of using the tools that I have, using the mind in a peaceful, gentle way, was the path that was available to me all along. And why this schism is based on whether you use the heart or the mind, as I see it, whether you assume responsibility for your evolution, or you look to your guru through devotion, through chanting, through singing the praises of your eventual enlightenment. But the key here for the mind as well as the heart is letting go of expectations. Don't expect through seva, through devotion, through chanting, through reading the sutras, don't expect that it will result, it will culminate in your awakening. It's expectations, just as expecting that your mind will eventually accomplish this, as you see it, task. And that's where the biggest problem lies. It's not a task. It's not another accomplishment. It's accepting the condition that we share. It's accepting the perfection that is available to all of us constantly. It's through this recognition, this acceptance, that we start to really understand the law of abundance. Everything is available to all of us in unlimited supply. So why we fight about the process? Why we say, why we divide and separate? The opposite of the aim of all these teachings. The teachings are to unify. The teachings are to help us see that we've always been part of the whole. Indeed, we could be nothing else. So bhakti yoga, devotion through singing, devotion to your guru, devotion to the gurus of your guru, the lineage, the recognition, the lineage, the ultimate misunderstanding that words can somehow encapsulate the divine. Words fail. Words were not intended to do so. They're intended as a useful tool, just as song, praise, love are tools to help you experience